I'm Father Robert Lauder, and the topic today is theatrical musicals. Musicals that have come to us from Broadway, and there are a wealth of them. Now, why should we be interested in these? Because they are incredibly entertaining, and they lift our spirits. They reveal to us the joy of life. Now, you and I don't think, go tap dancing down the street or walk through the street singing songs, but watching these people who have terrific talent and who are singing songs often that are beautiful, lifts us to a different level. For example, much of Oscar Hammerstein's lyrics are poetry. It's absolutely beautiful. So what musicals am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Oklahoma. One of the great Broadway musicals of all time. Carousel, probably just as good, both by Rodgers and Hammerstein. I'm thinking of Brigadoon, which is one of my favorite Broadway musicals, but unfortunately, it does not transfer to the screen so good. I heard that Gene Kelly begged MGM to shoot the movie in Scotland, to go, do it right on the set, right on the locale, and they wouldn't do it. And unfortunately, the movie is kind of flat. Also, they cut out a couple of really good songs. One Broadway musical that went the other way around, it was a movie first, and then it wound up on Broadway, was Rodgers and Hammerstein State Fair. So I think what's great is now all these treasures, which would cost us a fortune to see on Broadway, we can have right in our living room. King and I is one of my favorites. It's absolutely beautiful. It's funny, it's got great music, as I say, great lyrics from Hammerstein, great melodies from Rodgers, and also it moves you to tears. Two musicals that are special to me in terms of Broadway would be Les Mis, which I think is my favorite. Of all the Broadway shows I have seen, I think that's my favorite, and I think it translates a film very well. Obviously, it's not a comedy, it's not a musical comedy, but it's I think, a very profound insight into human nature. And it calls us to be heroes, and it's very religious. I mean, I don't think you can watch that movie or the play without seeing how religious it is. The bishop at the beginning of it purchases the soul of Jean Valjean, and he says to him, now you must live differently. And of course, Valjean does. And then you've got a perfect incarnation of evil in the character Javert. So that is my favorite, Les Mis. If I had to pick a musical comedy that I think as a movie is my favorite, I would have to pick My Fair Lady. It's not Rodgers and Hammerstein, it's Lerner and Loewe. Frederick Loewe wrote gorgeous music, and Lerner wrote terrific lyrics. And in this particular play, they had a wonderful text from George Bernard Shaw. So the play is very literate, very witty. The character of Henry Higgins is very funny. Eliza Doolittle is very funny. So that's a comedy. Les Mis is extremely serious. My nieces and nephew have watched them from, they were in grammar school. And that makes them much more appreciative of good music and of good theater. They're pretty good critics. One is a teenager now, the other two are about 20 years old, but they've seen the greats, and that affects everything, okay? Going back to King and I, let me just see if I can pinpoint why it's so wonderful. Well, the two main characters, Anna, who is the teacher, and the king, who is the king of Siam, are terrific roles. I mean, whenever I think of the king, I think of Yul Brynner immediately. Played it for years, played it on the stage and played it in the movies. And such a good person, and yet has many, many funny lines. He's a human being like the rest of us, so he's got foibles. There's a song that one of his wives sings. He will not always do what you would want him to do, but now and then he'll do something wonderful. Protect him when he's wrong, notice when he's strong. I mean, Hammerstein's lyrics are great. And Anna, getting to know you, it's sort of like an anthem for all teachers. If you become a teacher, by your students you'll be taught. So the values in King and I are just great, just wonderful. I can recommend that musical to anybody. Grammar school, high school, retirees. It's just got great values, great music, and great lyrics. If you're really interested in musicals, let me recap. Listen to this lineup. Rodgers and Hammerstein's Oklahoma, Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel, Rodgers and Hammerstein's State Fair, Rodgers and Hammerstein's South Pacific. I mean, this is really a terrific lineup. Turning to Lerner and Loewe musicals, we mentioned Brigadoon, we mentioned My Fair Lady. Two that I did not mention are Gigi and Camelot. Gigi is an absolutely beautiful, just a beautiful film. So there's a wealth of musicals that come from Broadway. And of course, my favorite is Les Mis.